My dad swears he's seen a UFO before.
There's definitely something out there.
I definitely think so. You know, no doubt in my head.
I was like so caught off guard by the fact that he totally believed he had seen this experience.
Definitely a firm believer in extraterrestrial life, as you can tell by my shirt here.
I think they work at 7-Eleven. Every time I go in there, it's spacey, man.
It's kind of like getting bigger, and like, you know when you look at lights, how like there's like stuff coming off the light? There was none of that, it was solid. It was just a solid red, like, orb.
You would see it, it would be light, and then it would go away, and then it would come up like somewhere else.
And I felt a presence that was like hovering right above me, and I heard this like electronic whirring sound.
Aliens, if they were here, come visit me. Don't abduct me. I'm not with that abduction shit.
I wouldn't mind if they came to Earth. I'd be like, yo, dude, what's up? How's the universe?
I think that they, in general, could be the same. Whether or not they take well to humans, I don't know.
I'm a very spiritual person, so I think it would be selfish or prudent to think that we're the only beings.
We're so small, if you really think about it. We are so small compared to this universe. It's so crazy.
I just believe that all things are possible, and so are aliens.
I think there's like other life out there, but I don't know if they're like aliens.
This like shock went out through my body, and I was unable to move initially when I was experiencing this whole thing. But then once that shock came through, I was able to move again, and I kind of was just like freaked out because I didn't know what happened.
My thing is, why would we be so arrogant to think that God would just make us? Like, why wouldn't God make everyone?
All of a sudden, it kind of just shoots higher in the air, and then it just jolts to the right, and then just started jolting, like making like perfectly, like on perfect plane levels too. Like it wasn't like it was chaotic the way it was moving.
I think they're either imaginations or there's some kind of explanation for them.
Then I like researched into it, and it ends up just being like stuff that happens like as you're falling asleep, like chemical imbalances, and like your brain's awake but your body is like still asleep, kind of a thing.
Some other kind of aircraft that wasn't registered at the time or was doing something they maybe weren't supposed to do, or just some kind of other nature.
I start like running the other way, and it kind of just comes closer and closer, and then I'm behind the dune at this point. I could fully see it above me. It was just this full red orb. So like I'm like freaking out.
Canada's already coming out about how they already know. So I think it's just a matter of time before everybody knows that it's more than just us.
I think they'd be like, you know how we're like, plants are living organisms and so are we, but like, we can't commute, you know, like that kind of thing. I think that's how it would be, just like another life form.
I think anything is possible, really. Like,
I agree with that.
I think that if aliens were developed enough to come visit Earth, we'd know by now. And I think we'd have much more knowledge of them, considering how advanced we are as a society.
I know they're there, and they've been here before. They're probably still amongst us, because if it's in the water, like, they're just residing here, like waiting for some kind of moment. So I'm like thinking, when's the next moment?
Come in peace, we come in peace.
The Cousins brothers are actually working on a thriller movie, and it's ultimately about humanity, but it's based on the hundreds of interviews they've done with abductees, and it's about they're using the draconians as the species, but just in general, there's bad ETs out there that come to attack, and what do you think? How do you think that's important? Are there? Some people say there's nothing but good ETs, like Dr. Greer. Other people say there's nothing but bad ETs, where most people say that there's good and bad. What do you think about alien agents?
I've spoken to many persons who have encountered ETs. I have read a lot of testimony, and I have written 8 books on the subject. And my feeling is that a majority of these beings, I would not classify as either good or bad. They seem to be generally indifferent to our species.
I don't know. I'd assume that they're just like people, where there's the good and the bad, but if you consider man's violent nature, anything that's going to come after us will probably be in for a fight. I assume there's good and the bad. If there's going to be bad ones coming after us, there's going to be good ones out there too that will try to stop them. So it's just like with everything else. There's good and bad everywhere.
Do you know anything about the draconians? Because they're the bad guys in this, the bad ETs.
I don't know if I've had personal experience. I know I've heard people recount stories of meeting, they refer to them as reptilian. I believe, if I'm understanding the references, because names, nomenclature in this field is kind of vast. So I do know that it gives me the heebie-jeebies in a big way. People like to think that everything is love and light and that there is no such thing as evil beings out there, but if there were, those are them.
They're here to examine, study, probe. They're looking for some kind of knowledge that may be nonsensical to us, but they seem less interested in us and more interested in perhaps our environment, perhaps our planet, perhaps our role in the universe that we may not be aware of. So they are more studious, they are more academic type approach, and less good guy, bad guy, which are the way we like to classify things. I wouldn't say that. I'd say a majority have an agenda that we don't know what it is. They're engaged in a purpose that we can't even begin to divine. And sometimes we get in their way, sometimes there are confrontations with them, but we are not their agenda. We are not at the top of their list. We are just sometimes become an inconvenience to them, really.
You know, I think it just runs the gamut. I think mostly it's pretty, for me, neutral. And I think they're curious about us, and I think some of us have probably evolved from them and have hybridization. And so I think it's kind of a mixture of things.
If you have one final message for all the viewers of Third Phase Moon, what would you have to say to them all?
I don't know, just keep looking up and keep learning.
Third Phase Moon, I would say that Third Phase Moon is right on, and keep looking up into the sky because they are there.
And I leave this message for viewers of Third Phase Moon. You never know until you yourself have a very personal encounter of this nature. You never really know what it's like. I have had multiple people who have undergone an experience say that they never dreamed it would be true and credible and believable until they themselves experience it.
This kid claims he's been abducted. They just recovered him in this old barn.
This machine, it's alive.
I know what you are.
He's not human. He's a killer.
What do you want?
I'm the journalist that was called in for the story.
Like the little green men from Mars.
They are not from here.
Seriously, today, after what I saw, this stuff is real.
Wow, UFOs? This is getting interesting.
The boy, Corey, I think he's the center of this. He has a connection with them. Is that you? There's something happening. And it's bigger than all of us. What do you mean, invasion?
It's a dark reptilian race. They're bent on destroying humanity. And they won't stop coming for us until we're all dead.
These are the diagrams and schematics of the machine.
The specs are she's dead.
This time to die.
Invasion has begun. They're just terraforming to make the planet more habitable for the Draconians. If we don't stop the greed, and stop the violence, stop these wars, that's what the Draconians feed on. If we don't fix this, it's gonna be the end of our world.
I think there's something special around here, and I think they want you to see it.
Is the world ready for disclosure? We're gonna find out.